Howdy folks, we're going to talk about loops in this section here. So the first loop we looked at a couple chapters ago was the while loop. Remember, a while loop said as long as whatever is in this parentheses is true, let's run. And we'll run the loop, we'll get to the bottom, and then we'll check again. If it's true, run it again. If it's true, run it again. So I could say something like int number is equal to 0, and we'll say while number is less than 10, we'll just print out number. And then inside the loop, then we'll take number, we'll just add to it. So number starts at 0, less than 10 is true. Yes, the loop's going to run. It prints out the number, it'll print out 0, it'll add 1 to 0, and now we're at 1. Is 1 less than 10? Yes. Print out 1. 1 becomes 2. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. Again. So we'll get the numbers 0 through 9 when this one's done here. Let's give it a quick run. You know, I forgot, I haven't actually run it for quite a while here. So 25, mail, sure, insurance rates. Oh, notice I had a uppercase M there instead of lowercase m. Is that, oh no, it was 25 our breakpoint here? Where was, oh yeah, yep, so 25 we were fine. So just 16 to 24, I guess. We'll do some big numbers here. We get the loans shouldn't matter. Here's your loan. Do you want to play again? No. What's your favorite color? You don't have a kid. Okay. Favorite number, 42. Now we get our loop. Okay. Right? And we get 0 through 9 printed out in our loop. Let me zoom in a little bit there. Okay, that's a basic while loop. And as long as this thing is true, the loop will keep on running. Keep on running, keep on running, keep on running. And you can put any kind of expression in here as you want. Right? You could use the anding, you could use the ors, you can combine a bunch of things, whatever sort of things you want here. So this is known as a pre-test loop. So it's possible this loop never runs if it's based on a variable like that the user enters. I've set this variable to 0, so I know it's going to run. I know it will run 10 times. But if I said, hey, user, enter a number, and then let's like count up from whatever their number is to 10, if they enter a number greater than 10, it just never runs at all. So it's a pre-test loop. It might not run. Now, another kind of loop is known as a do-while loop. And now I really dislike these do-while loops. So the do-while loop will run at least once, and then possibly more, which is kind of fun. So we could say do, let's print out a number. So let me set up an int for number. Maybe let's say another number is 0. And then we'll print out the number. And I'll take number plus plus. And then with a do loop, the syntax is a set of parentheses. Oh, I'm sorry, we say while, then the set of parentheses. We say another number is less than 10. Then you give it a semicolon. And this semicolon here is the entire reason why I hate do loops. You don't use a semicolon in a while loop. It's not there, right? You just have a set of curly braces. So the syntax here just drives me completely nuts. Like I don't know, I don't like it at all for do loops. And what this one's going to do then, it will run at least once, and then it will test. So if this is true, it'll run again. If it's true, it'll run again. If it's true, it'll run again. If it's true, it'll run again. So if you want to run these ones here, and let's get some output here. 5, mail, big number, no, favorite color, number, sure. Uh-oh. I'm printing out number and adding to number. I'm not changing another number. So my loop's running forever here. I've made an infinite loop here. That was no good. So we want to do another number, not number. There we go. So if this is always true, it just keeps on running forever. So we got to 7.9 million or so before that happened. So that was fun, right? Let's try that again. Some number, doesn't matter. No. Oops. Oh, man, I gave it an N instead of a number there. So close, so close. Number, no, 2. Okay, now we get a loop twice. Right, so it does the exact same thing in this place here, but it is kind of nice that it runs at least once, right? And then it checks the while. But in our cases, right, we're setting the value here, so it's done the same thing. But maybe you want to be asking the user for something. So these sorts of loops are fantastic for what I call validation loops here. So I'll say, hey, please enter, do you want, oh, so do you want blue pill or the red pill? And then we'll get their results. So their string for their pill color is going to be keyboard.nextLine. And I'm going to say while pill color dot equals ignoring case blue, and I want it's not blue here, And then I want and the pill color is not red. So this syntax here gets a little funny, but we'll talk through this here in a second. Let's do red. While it's not red, let's just keep on asking them here. So if it's not blue, right, that would be true. If it's not red, that would be true. So true and true means that the loop runs again. If it is red, though, if I say, yeah, I do want to take the red pill, right, not red would be false. And when you and together, then the whole thing would be false and the loop will stop running. So what this is kind of nice for is I can actually skip the first prompt here with the validation loop. I don't need to ask them again. All I need to do is set pill color to something that is not blue or not red, not blue and not red, so that the loop runs. And then we ask them here over and over and over here. So we call this one our validation loop. Right? It only ends when we have a valid input. So I'm saying, okay, the valid inputs are blue and red. If it's not blue and it's not red, it's not a valid input, right? Because it has to not be both of them for the loop to run. So then I can enter anything I want here. And again, it's ignoring case, which is nice. So we can run this one here and all this other input. Oh my goodness. I should just do these at the top because I keep forgetting here. No, 42. Okay, so I would say green. And it says, do you want the blue pill or the red pill? And I'd say yellow. Do you want the blue pill or the red pill? If I said blue, then it stops because the loop is done. So this is a handy validation loop to make sure you're getting an answer that you expect. While loops are fantastic for that. Now you can do the same with a do loop as well. But again, I hate do loops because of this silly semicolon. I literally spent like 2 hours one time trying to figure out why my project wasn't working because I had a while loop with a semicolon. So technically, a while loop with a semicolon is valid, but what that tells Java is there's nothing for the while loop to do. So it basically will be an infinite loop. If it runs once, it's going to run forever because it's empty. So if I said while another number is less than 10, semicolon here, and then I had a set of curly braces, and I were to do something here, this loop, if it runs once, will never end here. Let's do third number equals 0. And then we'll say, okay, third number. All right, we'll just print out the third number, and we'll say third number plus plus. This here is an infinite loop because it's never going to stop running, but it's not going to do anything. Right? So when we get here, it's just going to drive us crazy. All right, let's get there again. Let's enter some numbers, some letters, numbers. Right? So it looks like it's running. It's not doing anything. There's no output. There's nothing that's happening in the loop, but it's just running forever. So it gets to here and says, oh, that's the end of your loop. Stop. That's the end of your loop. Stop. So it's really dangerous to have the habit of semicolons, is why I hate them here with the do loops. Now, one cool thing we can do, I think, can I pause it here? Is there a way to pause? Don't think there is. No, I'm not, because I'm not debugging. I just have to stop it. I have to stop it here. But if we were running it in debug mode, right, if I put a breakpoint in here and I ran it with debug mode to watch what was happening, go step by step by step. Oh, yeah, sure, we should allow that probably. Sure. 5, male, no. Oops, that was supposed to be a number. One more time. Run it in debug mode so we can watch what's happening letter by letter by letter, variable by variable by variable here. No, play again, no, 1. All right, so we get to here, and it pauses, and it's showing us all the variables. These are all the variables we've used. We've got keyboard, we got age, we got gender, we got annual income, bankruptcies, play again, yada, yada, yada. All these values. And I can see it's about ready to run line 129. I'll say, okay, cool. Let's step over. We get to the while loop. It's ready to run this one. I step over. And it's just going forever because the while loop is just running. So here now you can pause the program, and it shows you, hey, I'm still here. Third number 0. And I say, well, what's happening? If I step into, there's nothing to step into. It just keeps on going forever. It's still running here. I keep pausing it. I keep ending up here. So those semicolons are real dangerous here. So I'm just going to actually comment all these out here. Let's control the slash for commenting those out. I'm going to end the debugger. So debugging can be handy. You can see where it's stopping and what the values are sometimes. All right? So that's a do loop, that's a while loop, that's validation loops, and the last kind of loop we're going to look at is a for loop. So for loops are fantastic for if you want to do something a fixed number of times. So I'm going to say for, and really what it's going to do here, it's going to combine a common loop here. So we declared a value, we gave it the condition, and then we updated the value. A for loop combines those three things. So we would say, hey, for int value is 0, semicolon, value is less than 10, semicolon, value plus plus. So you get three sections here. You get the declaration, you get the test, and then you get the update. Declaration, is that better? Right, so you're going to declare, semicolon, you're going to test, semicolon, and you're going to update. So it's the same exact thing as this while loop here, like this one, but just done in a single header line here. And then you're never going to forget this update here, because if you forget number here, or like if you put the wrong variable like I did here, you'll have an infinite loop. It's easier to spot those sorts of errors in a for loop because you have them all in this header line here. And here we get its output value. Right, it'll spit out those values for us. So it's pretty much the same thing. Let me actually move this validation loop here, because let's do that one 3 times in a row. Okay, so this for loop will do that same thing. So it's really handy for that sort of thing here. And then another cool thing you can do with loops is you can nest them. You can put a loop inside of a loop here, which is fun. So I'm going to say, hey, enter the width of a rectangle here, and I'll get an int. This will be width here. Will be integer.parseInt of the keyboard.nextLine. And then I'll say enter the length of a rectangle. Maybe width and height. How about that? Height. A rectangle here. And again, I'm just going to copy paste this line because I don't want to have to type it again. Here, this will be height. So I have two values. I have the width and I have the height. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a loop. I'm going to say for, now I want an int. This is going to be the current row. I'm going to start at 0, and I'll say current row is less than height. Current row plus plus. We'll add 1 to it. So for every row of your height, I want to do something. And what do I want to do? Well, I want to, for every, now I'm going to put a loop inside of a loop. I'm going to say for int current column is 0. My current column is less than the width here. Current column plus plus. So for every row, I'm going to do this entire loop every single time from start to finish. For every column, then, what I'm going to do is system.out, instead of print line, I'm going to use print. Now, print does not add the new line character for you here. I'm going to print a star. Right, so this here, system dot, I'll just copy it here, right? Doesn't add a new line after printing. Okay, so for every column then I want to put a star. So if your width was 10, I want to print 10 stars, right? Starting at 0, as long as it's less than 10, print a star and add 1, and then test. So it tests. It is also a pre-test loop. It runs, then it updates, then it tests again. So this is essentially like the last line of this loop up here. It's just putting it up in the header for us, which is really nice. So this will print a rectangle to the screen for me here. Let's give this a run. I can pick what size. Oh man, gotta do numbers and letters, numbers and letters, numbers and letters. Red. Okay, so the width of the rectangle. Let's do a 10 width, and how about a 5 height? Uh-oh. Well, I never did a print line. I never went down a line. So after I've printed all of the columns, then I just want to do an empty print line here to go down to the next line. Let's try that one more time here. One more time. All right. Oh, no, no, no. Numbers, 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 numbers. Red. Okay, so a 10 width, a 5 height, and now we get 5 rows of 10 stars, right? Because the loop inside runs from beginning to end every time this loop runs once. So for row, current row is 0, it'll loop column start to finish, and then come back, update current row. Is it less than the height? Do it again. So you can put loops inside of loops. They're fantastic. And you can do a lot of fun things with loops. And there's really no limit. I mean, you don't want to go too far, too many like tabs in. You've probably done a crazy thing, and it's supposed to be super hard to read. But you know, a loop inside of a loop, maybe a third loop inside of that. Other than that, you know, you're probably getting a little complex to follow here. But you can do all sorts of fun things like that and draw different shapes. So rectangles and squares and triangles and diamonds and all sorts of fun shapes we can draw with loops inside of loops. All right, folks, I'll see you in the next video.